How can a country move from being one of the most modern societies in the Middle East to becoming one of the strictest religious regimes in the world? During the 1960s and 1970s, Iran looked very different from what many people imagine today. Cities were modernizing, universities were expanding, and a vibrant urban culture was emerging across the country. On the streets of Tehran, young people filled cafés and bookstores. Western music blended with Persian traditions, and women participated increasingly in public life. To many observers, Iran appeared to be moving steadily toward a modern future. But history rarely moves in a straight line. Today, we explore what Iran was really like before the revolution of 1979, and how a country that seemed to be advancing toward modernity experienced one of the most dramatic political transformations of the 20th century. In the decades before the Iranian Revolution, the country presented an image that surprised many visitors from abroad. The capital city of Tehran was growing rapidly, transforming into one of the most dynamic urban centers in the Middle East. Modern buildings rose along wide avenues. International hotels welcomed travelers from around the world, and cultural life flourished in theaters, galleries, and universities. For many residents, the rhythm of everyday life reflected a society increasingly connected to global trends. Students debated philosophy and politics on university campuses. Writers and artists explored new forms of expression. In cafes and restaurants, conversations about literature and science often continued late into the night. Women also began to play a more visible role in public life. Many attended universities, worked in offices and hospitals, and contributed to professions that had previously been limited to a small portion of society. To foreign observers, Iran seemed to represent a model of rapid modernization in the region. But this transformation did not happen by chance. At the center of the country's political system stood a monarch who believed that Iran's future depended on dramatic change. That figure was Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. Educated in Europe and strongly influenced by Western models of development, the Shah envisioned a powerful nation capable of competing economically and technologically with the leading countries of the world. During the 1960s, his government launched an ambitious program of reforms known as the White Revolution. Despite its name, it was not a revolution in the traditional sense. Instead, it was a series of reforms designed to modernize Iran's economy and social structure. Land redistribution programs attempted to weaken large landowners and empower rural farmers. The educational system expanded dramatically, bringing new schools and universities to regions that had previously lacked access to higher learning. Infrastructure projects transformed the physical landscape of the country. Roads, airports, factories, and hospitals appeared at a pace that reflected the government's determination. Oil revenues provide the financial resources to support these massive changes. Cities expand rapidly as new industries created opportunities that attracted people from rural areas. Tehran in particular experienced extraordinary growth. Modern architecture reshaped the skyline, and a new middle class began to emerge, benefiting from the economic boom. The government also promoted social reforms that expanded opportunities for women. New legislation improved access to education and employment. And women gained the right to vote in national elections. For many international observers, the situation presents a complex web of diplomatic and economic challenges. These changes suggested that Iran was becoming a modernizing power within the Muslim world. However, beneath this image of progress, deeper tensions were slowly developing. Rapid modernization often produces uneven results. While some sectors of society benefited from economic growth and urban expansion, others struggled to adapt to the speed of change. Millions of people moved from rural areas into expanding cities in search of opportunity. For many, the transition proved difficult. Housing shortages, rising living costs, and limited employment created challenges for families attempting to establish themselves in urban environments. Economic growth was real, but its benefits were not distributed equally. At the same time, political power remained highly centralized. Although Iran maintained formal institutions such as parliament, the ultimate authority remained concentrated in the monarchy. Political opposition was tightly controlled, and public criticism of the government could carry serious risks. One of the most controversial institutions of the period was SAVAK, the government's intelligence and security organization. Its mission was to monitor potential threats to the regime and prevent political movements that could challenge the stability of the state. For some citizens, the presence of such surveillance created a sense of pressure that contrasted sharply with the image of cultural openness seen in major cities. As modernization accelerated, debates about the future of the country intensified. In universities, students discussed political reform, social justice, and economic inequality. Nationalist thinkers questioned the government's close relationship with Western powers. Others worried that rapid cultural change might weaken Iran's historical traditions. Among the most influential voices of criticism were members of the Shiite religious clergy. Some religious leaders believed that the modernization policies of the government threatened the cultural and spiritual foundations of Iranian society. One cleric in particular would become a central figure in the unfolding political crisis. That figure was Ruhollah Khomeini. From exile, he delivered speeches criticizing the direction of the country and warning that Iran risked losing its cultural identity. His messages began circulating through religious networks, students, merchants, and communities who shared concerns about the pace and nature of modernization. It is important to understand that opposition to the government did not come from a single unified movement. Different groups expressed dissatisfaction for different reasons. Some demanded greater political freedoms. Others advocated for social and economic reforms. Still others wished to protect traditional cultural and religious values. What united them was a growing perception that the country's rapid transformation was creating deep contradictions within Iranian society. By the late 1970s, these tensions had begun to reshape the political climate. On the surface, Iran still projected the image of a modernizing nation. Cities continued to expand. Universities remained full of students. Industry continued to grow. But beneath this appearance of stability, dissatisfaction had been building for years. Iran had become a country of contrasts. Tradition and modernity existed side by side. Economic progress coexisted with social and political control. And in the midst of these contradictions, the country slowly approached a turning point that would transform not only its own political system, but also the balance of power across the Middle East. History often reminds us that rapid change can produce unexpected consequences. In Iran, modernization reshaped society in ways that created both opportunity and tension. The questions raised during this period about identity, tradition, political power, and the direction of national development would eventually lead the country toward one of the most dramatic revolutions of the 20th century. Understanding this moment allows us to see how the path toward modernity can sometimes lead societies toward entirely unforeseen outcomes.